Hey guys, Ben Hart here, and let's talk about your church live stream. This is the number one question that I get. Why doesn't it sound good? What can I do different? Who can I train? And I get this all the time. I mean, so much so that I haven't really wanted to answer it, but today I'm going to dive into some stuff because I've been involved with some online things that may look like a live stream, but it really probably isn't if you're viewing what I think. And so we're going to talk about, should you have it, how to make it better, what's possible, what should I invest in, all of those things. Well, today I am actually editing audio for a live album that I was a part of, that I produced and everything, for Greater Life. The assistant pastor and evangelist is Tyler Blue. His dad's Tim Blue. His wife, Michaela, you've probably seen her online, is a fantastic singer. And even with that, so basically I am mixing post after the fact a live stream. So I took their live stream, just video, and I'm going to show the difference in mixing. And sorry, Tyler and Michaela, if you didn't want me to use you guys as a guinea pig, but we're going to do it. I'm going to show you what is going on. Also, like, I did the live, I produced and post-edited the live album for my dear friend Nathaniel Hobbs there at Belmont Baptist, and I did all the audio and stuff for that, and I know a lot of you have seen a lot of their reels and stuff. So what I get all the time is people saying, how are they getting their live stream to sound so good? And probably 99% of the time, what they don't realize is they're not watching a live stream. They're seeing a reel or a clip that they think is just a reel or a clip of their live stream. It is indeed the same service, but that has been post-edited. Now, before you guys go and say, oh, they're using some sort of magic or there's an AI thing going on or something like that, that's not really true. They are Michaela Blue, Gracie Carr, Nathaniel Hobbs, the choir at Greater Life and stuff like that. There are some really good singers involved there. And even with all of that, their live stream still can't sound to their fullest potential. Or I would say it's not a good representation of what your service, what you think you're hearing if you were there live. So I'm going to play a clip from the night of the song There Is a Remedy, that I'm in the middle of editing for the live thing, and I've attached it to their live stream feed. And this is what we felt like that we were listening to and worshiping to that night. So I'm going to show you the difference between the two, and then we're going to talk about what you can do with your live stream and how to do clips like this. And, just answer that question once and for all. I get so many about it, and it's like I get a Facebook message, and I'm like, I can't answer all this in like a message. So for all of you that I've not answered, sorry about that. So here we go. So let me play you, I'll pick a random spot maybe at the bridge, and I've got audio lined up. I've got just their live stream audio before I mixed it, and then I've got it after I've been mixing. It's not fully done, but you can still hear the difference. So I'll try to put good audio on this, like, so it's not just through the camera here. Let's play this.
There's an answer to the question. There is love for all that hate. There's a healer for the dying. He's the life, the truth, and the way. There is a remedy for every sin-sick soul. There is a cure for all the pain and hurt and wrong. There is a solution for all the problems deep inside. There is a remedy, and His name is Jesus Christ. There is a remedy.
Okay, so you can see there, that's what we felt like we heard that night. And it was what we heard that night. That is that. But live stream doesn't ever capture that well. So I'm going to play you actually and I'll be honest with you, their live stream isn't even close to being the worst that I've heard. So we're still we're dealing, one, because there's a lot of good singers. Ew, that's really loud. All right, so okay. So I'm going to turn down the audio of that one, and I've got the old, just original live stream audio right here. Keep in mind, same singers, everything, and there's not some sort of magic on this. We'll talk about it. So listen to this. There'll be a little bit of volume drop. Try to not let that affect you more the quality. I'll try to turn it up a little louder than it actually was so it matches. I've got some mastering and stuff on there that gets the volume up on the other. All right, here we go. So let's play. Let's see if I can find the same spot.
There's an answer to the question. There is love for all that hate. There's a healer for the dying. He's the light, the truth, and the way. There is a remedy for every sin-sick soul. There is a cure for all the pain and hurt and wrong. There is a solution.
All right. So you can see there, there's a boldness, and it's not even, it get past the loudness thing, but there's a vividness, there's an openness, you can hear the worshiping, there's all this kind of stuff going on there. Okay. So that has been post-edited, and all I did was try to bring out what I felt like we were actually hearing that night. And but it takes a definite skill set of post-editing to do that. So you're saying, well, this really isn't live stream. We're not doing this live. And I want you to realize that. I want you to realize that live stream, to get it sounding really good, takes a lot of skill sets and resources. I get people all the time saying, I want to send somebody to you and train them for the weekend, and they have enough sense to know, like, we'll invest in equipment, and we're gonna put another guy in another room, and they're going to mix, separate, because for those of you that have wondered, maybe you're not even thinking like this. However you're gonna mix live, that's never gonna be a great representation of how you're gonna hear it online. There's so many different variables on there. So if you get a good, and I see some people sacrificing, please don't do this. This is a pet peeve of mine. Will sacrifice, you see the headphone people. Yeah, like they're back there with their headphones on. Well, please quit doing the headphone thing. Like, I'm not saying that headphones aren't good for something, but 99.99% of the time, if you ain't mixing a live stream, quit putting the darn headphones on. Because, darn, I don't know if that, I'm sorry if that offends you. Maybe I ain't supposed to say that. What that is you're paying more attention to your live stream mix than you are your live thing. And people drove there, got in their car, and came to your service to worship. And you're going to make bad decisions. You're going to make decisions for your live stream and mess up what is going on in the room. Because it's never the same mix. I ain't ever heard it be the same mix. Even you get the greatest singers ever. It's not the same mix. All right? So don't do that. But for those of you who said, I'm going to put a guy in there and then I need you to train him. That's the big thing. Like, they will send you off and get him trained up for the weekend. Well, I'm still not where I want to be when it comes to mixing. What you're doing is you're coming from pushing up levels and volumes and all the forgiving things that happen live, all of a sudden to putting somebody in a side room and saying, like, I need you to be a highly skilled engineer. And in fact, as it's coming to you in real time, I need you to make it sound as good as a post-edited situation. I'm going to say there are places pulling this off, but with great amount of budget. And before you say, I'm ready to buy the gear, 80% ain't the gear. It is the people. It is the singers, the players. It is the mix engineer that has spent his life saying, I want to get good at mixing, at audio. And you go into another realm. When you, here's the reason why, like, I can't explain to you every variable, but let me bring this into context. Let me see if I can find a microphone here. Here's the reason why your live stream doesn't I'll give you one aspect of why it don't sound good and why it's not the same mix. When you're singing live, one, it's a little more forgiving. There's this room ambience, there's this reverb and all this kind of stuff like that. And we're hearing it come out of our speakers all at one time with two ears. And there's a level of mixing and forgiveness to all of that. And how we're hearing a live stream, like everybody, if you're hooking straight into your board, and you're hearing all these individual things, and maybe you even have it on a separate feed to where you can mix it separate and stuff like that, you are hearing this. You are hearing someone this close to the microphone. Now, none of us listen to music to where, like, if you were right here to me, and whoever you are, I don't want to be this close to you, and this was your ear, you don't listen to me sing right here to your ear. But that's how you're hearing that. But what we're hearing is it go through here and through a soundboard and some processing, and then it's coming out of the speakers, and there's room noise, and there's all these different things that are taking place, and that even change the volume levels in which things are coming in. And when you're putting it right into the board, and I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it, I'm saying when you do that, you have now went into dead, dry land, and it's like you're hearing it like someone's singing just dry up to your ear like this, the playing in there. You ever notice like all of a sudden a keyboard sounds like a big old toy, a piano sounds mud? There's all these things. It's because everything's really close, and you have more control over them, which means there needs to be a lot more processing done, and it shows every creak and crack in a voice instrument or anything. There's a lot more to that. But I'm just so you say, so what should we do about live streams? We need to have live streams, and I'll say this: I've seen live streams can be one of the biggest things that grows a church. But I will say 90% of the time it is a huge hurt, because it is not a good representation of what you actually go to your church. And what you're doing is you're putting out in the world saying, this is what we are. When a visitor comes, and I'm going to tell you what to do about all this. There's options. We're getting to it. But I told you, this is why I can't type it up. When we get to I lost my train of thought. All right, what were we talking about? I know we're talking about live streams. I didn't lose at that thought. Like, I am a creative. Ooh, shiny. Just pull that right out of the air. Oh, yes. When we get to a person that we've invited, they're a friend of ours, and there's some sort of like comfort to that, and you're inviting them to get them into your church. But when you have a cold turkey person searching for a church in the area, and they see yours along the side of the road, what do? They're going, in this day and age, they're going to go and find your Facebook page or your live stream or your website and look up your times, but they are more than anything going to look for a video to see what the service is like. And if your live stream is the first thing that shows up, first off, I've watched 20 live streams. Basically, I started random churches for these videos. Most of them is like, there's all this random stuff happening. They start really early, or there's mics left on, and you hear people weird talking in the background and everything else like that. And then even if they skip ahead and go to the service, it's like there's one person, and the old school ones is like, it's like this song leader, and it's so dead sounding you can't hear the room, and it's like, I heard it all time, sing! There was this one guy that's just like, sing! And then there's like the worship guy. I looked at a more modern church, and I'm sure all these look like they were halfway happening in churches, but their live stream wasn't represented. Like the modern guy was just like, he was like mumbling before. I'm not sure what he was saying. I'm sure he was saying stuff like, let's all go to the Lord in presence and everything, so I'm mentioning the whole bread. But I couldn't understand what he was saying because the volume was all over the place. And I'm sure they could there. There was no room noise. There was no ambience. There was no liveness to it. Everything was just so dead. And I know you know what I'm talking about, because if you're watching this video this long, you're frustrated at why your live stream don't sound good. So there's all those things. So let's talk about some options. All right, some options. Because I'm going to be straight up. Some of you that watch a high level, live stream, there is a straight up almost TV and audio production. And before you even bought the $70,000 board, Yes, there are $70,000 mixer boards, and you think that's going to fix it. Before you buy that, you have to have a person that knows how to run that thing. I will take a $2,000 X32 Behringer board and if a real engineer that I'm paying $100,000 a year because he knows what he's doing. And I know I'm not saying you guys got to buy. We're going to get to some actual practical options, but I just want you to know I will take that guy mixing versus a $100,000 board and a guy that you trained in one weekend. And that's and we like to buy the one-time gear things. Okay, let's talk about what we can do. All right, so you're most of us are under 1,000 people, under 500 people, 300, maybe even under 100. We're in that situation. We want to have a live stream. Our older people want to do it, but like we don't want it to hurt us. In fact, we want it to help us. We want to be able to put out reels and clips, and it sounds good. Well, let's talk about first the live stream, and we'll talk about the reels and clips and what I recommend. First off, your live stream, in my opinion, audio is more important than the video. And I'm an audio guy. Video guys don't yell at me. But, like, truthfully, I think both are super important. But truthfully, I have enjoyed, like this video right here is just a normal live stream video. It wasn't, like, professionally produced. But there was still, like, we put out one edited thing from this night, and I think it had, like, 15... It was, I don't know, it was a ton, like 15,000 something shares or something like that, and 30,000 views. I don't know, it was a lot, and it was just regular, because it was portraying what we were feeling that night, and it was a good representation of that. Now, do I wish we had a great video of the whole night right there? Yeah, absolutely, that would have been even better. But what you can't, so first off, you have to realize, like, what can we do? Can we do this? Is the audio, like, can I get the audio to that? And the answer is, it takes a lot of effort, a person and stuff like that. Literally, I'm going to say at minimum, to do it live and get it to sound like this. The churches that are doing it live and can get it sound like this without post-editing stuff are a minimum between buying are spending $300,000 a year on that to be able to do that. Okay? Because one, a lot of those places that are doing that have paid musicians and singers. Everything's so on point with what's going on up there. And I'm not saying your singers are bad. I'm saying, like, there's not a weak link up there because they know how harsh that can be. Plus, there's a $100,000 engineer in the back room. Plus, they bought the $100,000 board and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the video team and stuff like that. So they're spending $500,000 if they're doing something on a high level live when it's actually happened live. There are just know that's an option, but like that's really expensive. The next down option for that is there's places that I've post edited for and their music is timed and a week out. I'm gonna get to the practical ones which you're at, but I'm just telling you from the top down. There's people that said, okay, this week's worship, we're going to give it to a guy that can post-mix, and they're going to get it to sound good, and then next week it'll be timed out where we're showing last week's thing right there, and then we cut to the preaching. Okay? So, because the preaching talking, that can be mixed, and that can be portrayed way easier talking. It's one thing going on, there's not all this stuff happening and everything. That's a way easier situation, so they're cutting to it, and there's post-edited. Then there is the people that produce like one song, and they do it like in the office, and it's known before the preaching. They have it timed out, like, hey, maybe while the other service is going on, we're about 5 minutes out. Let's show this one song that we did throughout the week and just bless the people who are getting ready to watch the preaching. And it's known, it's kind of like a studio video thing. Here's the levels going down. This is what I see. Then, after that, I would say you can then do, if you just don't want it to hurt you at all, and I recommend this to a lot of places. You don't have a lot of resources and stuff like that. I recommend that you don't turn on the live stream until the preaching. Now, I'm still going to talk to you about your singing. Just hold on. If you must do it, I will tell you the best thing that I can tell you with, almost barely any budget. You could just cut to the preaching. And for those of you that cut to the preaching, if you have some decent singing and stuff, you could pay somebody to, come in and make the reels and stuff for you. This is what we're getting into, like my buddy Nathaniel Hobbs does. So he has a live stream, and I will even say his live stream is better than most, but it is still not what the reels are. That is a separate camera. And if you notice, most of the time, besides for the night we did the live thing, we had a few more. A separate camera by a guy that knows how, that videoed, and then he grabbed the audio, and then it was post-edited. And notice, it's like 30 seconds. So we kind of pick one of the best parts, and then we edit 30 seconds. So this way, you can't edit your whole service every week, even if you had that guy. You can, but that's a huge team. So you can do your favorite part of that, and then put those out as reels and stuff, and that is super effective. I recommend it if you can get it done. That's something, he has a guy doing it. I have done it for him. I did the whole night of the thing. He did the video. Shout out to Blake that goes there, that is a sound guy and a video guy right now there at Belmont. He shot the video that night and made sure the audio is recorded correctly, and then I post-edited the whole night, and it took some serious time. In fact, let's talk about, let me show you what it looks like. So I grab, everything gets recorded separate, and then you can see here all this stuff. So this is Greater Life. So even these, look, I can unfold. It's going on forever, and there's all these editing, and there's all this stuff, and if I were to take it off, it sounds like the first thing, but then if I were to play it, it sounds like it. But if I take it off, it sounds like, what we played earlier, just kind of dead, and it didn't feel like that in the room that night. In fact, it was alive in there that night. Okay, so you can do that. I recommend that one for smaller churches. And then as you grow, you get those resources because, man, those reels that are post-edited, they represent your church correctly. And in fact, people's attention span is so short, they're not going to watch a whole live stream. Maybe you have some older people in your church, but if you're wanting to gain visitors out of it, there ain't nothing better to pass around your community than quality videoed and audio preaching clips and singing clips. The singing ones are a little harder to produce. You got to get somebody that knows what they're doing. No, I cannot train you in one weekend to do it. I can start the journey, and for sure, if you want to do that. And there's people that do it way on another level than I do, but I am getting good results here. This is getting long, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I wanted to address this because I get it so much, all right? But it takes a lot of skill set to be able to do it. So I recommend going to the preaching if you must do your singing, because the older people in your church just have to have it. I know I hear that all the time. I'm not throwing shade at the older people. That's just what I hear. They can't make it, and they want to be a part of the service, and this is their thing. But you don't want a bad representation to your church. Then the option is this. The best thing to do is to let most of your live stream be a room mic. Sounds a little bit more like what you're actually hearing. Is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to be way better? Yes. It can get 50% better with this little trick right here. If you're running it into your board, have you ever noticed someone will take a video on their phone of a song or something at your church, and the audio on that is thin and is stupid? On a camera, it sounds a little bit more blended better. Blended better? I don't know if that's right. Than your live stream when you hear that same spot, the same song. If you haven't noticed that, do it sometime. And let me tell you the reason why. Because that, it's got one mic on it. And what is it picking up? It's picking up the speakers, the room, and everything. It's almost like when we are sitting in there, it's like our ears are picking up all of this. And it's coming out of the speakers. There's room things. We're hearing the actual thing. We're not hearing this direct sound like this. So it sounds a little bit more like what we're hearing. So it gets a little crazy too ambient with just a room mic, but it can be 70-80% of your time. So you can put a mic in there, not run it through your speakers, run it. If you want to know how to do this, I do help people do this. Turn up that mic and let that get that the best you can sound without all the other ones, and then blend the other one a little bit on your live stream feed. And that is the best thing if you must. and you can't afford all that. I understand all that. This takes a lot and a lot of skill set, even if you can find somebody to do it. So you can do that. A good room mic is a way closer representation. But this dry feed, you're thinking, oh, I'm getting it to the board and everything. That's all fine and dandy, but it is not. It does not. It's going to show some rough stuff. I mean, truthfully. And what I played you earlier even had room mics, and it sounded a lot better. But you take those out. If I'd have muted those, maybe I should have done that. It's even just like another drop of deadness. It doesn't sound like what we thought we heard that night. And as visitors are watching that, they're thinking, okay, well, this is what this church is like. Whereas if they would have just come and sat in the service and be like, man, they could make a way better judgment. So be careful what you represented with your live stream. Just cut to the preaching. But think, or invest. Invest. It takes a lot of resources to do what most people are wanting to do in their head. I'm sorry this wasn't a video about that told you all you got to do is send this guy off to here and buy this equipment and this board and everything gets better. I've not seen that be realistic yet. In fact, it's still even difficult for me to be in another room and mix it. I can make it way better. But it's still difficult to get it to maybe even sound like this in post. I mean, there's so much stuff I can do to bring it to life that you might not do on a real live stream. Now I can mix it like live and it sound, way better. I've got presets and for sure like that. But the post editing thing, really get some good representations of what it feels like for your church and get them post edited. Even if you just ask somebody to do it for 10 videos and get those passed around your community. Man, social media is one of the worst things and one of the best things that's ever happened. And just think about this. A bad post, you get 300 views. Okay, that's a bad one. Most of you ain't even preaching to 300 people on Sunday. And you just did with your little video on your desk. So make sure it's a good representation and realize the power in that. So many people are like, well, I don't want to put out live stream videos because I don't want to feel like I'm showing off and self-promotion and stuff like that. Don't do it for that reason. Put it out there and don't care about the brethren and realize I'm trying to reach my community and people, and I want people to know that we're here. It's so important. And if they know that you're there and things are getting passed around and it just is not a great representation because they found you on a live stream or stuff, you're not getting the best shot to reach those people. So those are some of my thoughts on live stream. If you want to send a message to me and you want to have the discussion, I have it all the time. I just could not barely do it in writing a message on Facebook. So for all of you that I've not answered, or I've just said this is kind of a hard topic for me to answer in a message, look, I could barely keep it under a certain amount of time right now in this video. I've rambled on too much. There's my thoughts about live stream, and excited about this. These are some good singers and stuff, and this is with the track. When you get live players and even just some regular church singers, and I'm not talking bad about them, that you think sound really good, it's another level to get it to sound even better. Yeah, it definitely can be done, but with great people resources. If anything you get out of this video, quit buying the $20,000, $50,000, $70,000 board and stuff, and and not have somebody with the skill set to do it. And they can't learn it in one weekend. Okay, it's a for real. People spend years learning how to do it. So if you're gonna do that, you got to invest in something. You treat it like another staff member. Find you an assistant pastor. It's actually an audio guy. Hire him. I don't know. So anyway, all right. Those are my thoughts about live stream. Could be the greatest help. Could be the greatest hindrance. Really, when it comes to music, I love edited reels that represent what I'm not talking about doing something fake. If it was terrible, it's terrible. I can't and I can't make something that was just horrendous actually sound good. But there are some things that sounded good that on live stream can sound horrendous sometimes, just because it wasn't properly mixed in how we hear things and stuff. So there's my thoughts today. If you'd like to talk about it, shoot me a message. We'll jump on the phone.